After walking for a while, he imagines they must be safe now. Looking at the girl, he asked about her test, but it seems she still has time. Then he extended his hand to say goodbye, saying it was great to have met her. Even though it had been good, both had now finished their purposes together. On her face was this sincere smile about it. They shook hands, both content with what they had accomplished. As they were leaving, he reminded her about secrecy and payment, and to be careful in life, in case she didn't want to see him again. But there was something she wanted to say. She wanted to know if it was okay for them to see each other again. On the ground were discarded wrappers. Cabligno looked to the side, interested. The boy had returned, and from his torn clothes, it seemed he had had quite a bit of fun. Now they wanted to take a look inside the briefcase as well. The characteristic glow began to emerge. It would be insane if that were released to the public. It would be enough to buy a few buildings. He congratulated the boy on the job, and said he would send the payment soon. Snooking his cigarette, he looked at him once again. Jiayang seemed strange, so Cabligno wanted to know if everything was okay with him. He wanted to know if it was because of the adventurer who died while fighting him, but he died afterward. And it wasn't a situation he should feel remorse about. Cabligno asked if anything else had happened while he was there. The boy dodged the question, saying it was nothing and that he should stop asking. Looking to the briefcase, he asked if he could take what was left as it didn't seem to be royal jelly. Of course, all items that weren't part of the objective belonged to the smuggler. That was the rule. He wanted to know who the child that would eat it was. It could bring the dead back, but it had another use besides that. It could increase each individual's limits, boosting their potential talent. There wasn't much clarity on it, but it only worked on those who hadn't reached adulthood, so they wouldn't give it to someone for whom it wouldn't work. It was surely for someone from the warrior school. Jiayang said he was leaving and Cabligno wished him good luck. He sent a message to give to her father to say hello, and the boy said he would if he got the chance. Recently, he hadn't been doing very well. Outside, he looked at the color of the twilight sky, and thought about the warrior school. He remembered what the girl had said to him. Directly, he wanted to know if she was interested in him, but she said she wasn't joking. There was an admission exam in the winter. They accepted only a few people, but he had a good chance of getting in. Looking at him, she emphasized that he should try. No adventurer can explore a dungeon alone, no matter how skilled they are. Facing the unreal situations of dungeons alone is practically impossible. That's why a team is necessary. Different people with different talents combine their abilities to overcome weaknesses and become stronger. That's how dungeons are explored. This school has political factions, and he wanted to know if they fought against each other. If ever that simple, they wouldn't have to worry about them. In their class, there were 2 factions. The 2 in the top 3 led the factions. Hearing this, he wanted to know if she belonged to one and found out that she hadn't joined them. And about the situation, the teachers don't interfere because it's the students' responsibility to find their team. She knew he was implying that this happened because she wasn't that skilled, and she also knew she wouldn't be a top student. Even so, she should manage to find a team, even those non-factions could do it. And one of the faction leaders didn't like her. It wasn't explicit, but it was noticeable. Behind her back, she intentionally isolated her from the others. Jiayang wanted to know if she had stolen that girl's boyfriend, and of course, that wasn't the reason. In any case, she didn't survive alone so far, but wouldn't be able to do so in the upcoming years. That's why she wanted to hire Jiayang. With his ability, or rather with him alone, she might have a chance to survive. Thinking about this, she looked at the medicines on the counter. Indeed, she's quite a funny girl. The girl's side is Austin, having had a turbulent day. She finally arrived where she wanted and announced her presence. She's at the dungeon barrier in Gangnam at the 12th location. Meanwhile, she thought about the boy she had met. As she was leaving, he said he had listened well to what she said and wished her good luck. In her mind, she imagined you wouldn't talk to her about the subject. While she was thinking, someone said she wasn't late. It was Kang. One of her instructors was responsible for hand combat training. She wanted to know if something had happened since she still had time, and he said there had been a problem. Monsters, not common in certain areas, had been seen. There were no casualties, but some students said completing the test was impossible and requested help. Those students were in the same area where she had retrieved the coin. Looking at her, he wanted to know if she had any trouble with the task. Anxiously, she said she hadn't. He listened without reacting and didn't question her. But he ordered her to stay behind him, and the girl felt a monstrous presence there. She turned to him and became even more frightened. Another one, like the one that ate the weirdo, but even larger. A tight nap in that area was quite unusual, since they don't live anywhere nearby. Maybe it had been attracted by something, and the girl began to imagine what it could have been. It was certainly the smell she had sensed earlier. The instructor told Serum once again to stay behind him, and she apologized. That monster was completely focused on eating them. All the instructors at this school were once adventurers. Some left the profession due to the lingering effects of injuries sustained throughout their lives. That's what people on the outside think about them. A single punch from that instructor was devastating. The force was so immense that the Titan was being subdued. Fire began to rise rapidly up his arm. As soon as it reached the head, it was obliterated. The monster's lifeless body fell to the ground. These instructors, when they were younger, earned the title of rankers. Even in death, the monster's head kept exploding. His prosthetic had been destroyed, and he said the girl was lucky he was there. Because this could have ended in a very dangerous way. Even so, he rested his hand on her shoulder. It's very good to know she's safe. Now it's time to return to a safe place. People sometimes ignore the fact that the instructors there are also warriors. Back at school, they asked about the students who requested rescue. Those students would have to retake the test, which was very fortunate. He said the people who went there were just weaklings. As they talked, he said one of the weaklings was arriving. Looking at her, the one-armed man told her to go in and wait. Human confirmed that everyone was there, and she was to check the numbers and put on the uniform. Indeed, she felt much more relieved now. A girl said she had told her she would be fine. At least her tactic was quick. This fake person was Anisha, and she said she was very worried about her classmate. In response, she said she didn't imagine she would be worried. Continuing with the cynicism, she said it wasn't for her. That was her sister saying those things. It all started 6 years ago. Zeke, Sarah's uncle, said she needed to increase her output. She should pay attention and stay focused. But that required too much effort from her. He finished the exercise, said that was enough, and that at least she had improved since the last time. But it was only a little. On the other side, she heard someone cheering. Exhausted, she looked to see what was happening. It was her sister showing much more talent. Anisha mastered that technique with ease. Not only did she not resemble a hybrid in appearance, but she could use magic with more mastery than many purebloods. He said her cousin was a genius, and if she wanted to stay on this path, she would always remain in her shadow. And being constantly compared should be the least of her worries. He also suggested she be cautious. A girl seemed sadistic. Still cynical, she said she didn't understand. Why did no one want to be on the same team as her? With the ability she had, then she interrupted her and said that if she was curious, she should form a team with her. She said she couldn't, as they both had the same role, healing magical damage from a distance. It did make sense for two people to have the same task. This is the situation that others should deal with, not her. But even so, she shouldn't worry, because she's sure there will be another test. So she said she doesn't care about the test because she already passed. Anisha says she's impressed and that her sister must have done her best, but she advised her not to try too hard. After all, she's the one who has to inherit the company anyway. This brief interaction left her deeply irritated. What Anisha really wants is for her to stop trying. It's already my time and the lights are visible in the building. The door suddenly opens. Jeren is very agitated now. The patient's guardian has arrived and Jeren wants to know if something has gone wrong.